enterprise and energy, and at the moment is to to focus on social enterprises in developing country through challenge fund, and this usually has to be market-led or NGO-led. And one of the stuff that DFID has done lately is in September 2014, I think, they have launched Global Initiative Fund as one of the channels to actually do such social innovation. And also, how can enterprises create trust with the community? And when you're talking about enterprises, depending on what kind of project people are involved in, enterprise can be, household itself can be enterprises, because like if you're talking about rural agricultural community, they also have, extra products which they sell. Or do you talk about a combination of a collection of farmers or a collection of traders? They themselves form an organization that can also sort of be like an enterprise. And part of the stuff we talk about as well is how do we understand and monitor impact that enterprises have on improving energy access to developing countries. So what are the metrics that we have to use to assess that? Is it like through CO2 emissions or through income? What are the metrics, and how are we going to understand it? How are we going to monitor it? And part of the stuff that we were also discussing about is that it's sort of like a chicken and egg situation where enterprises enable energy access. So once the infrastructure is already ready, naturally more enterprises will join the fray to improve more access. So which comes first? And part of the problem is just waste as well. So enterprises don't really understand how waste can be incorporated into energy context, because where energy can be a form of waste too. If you, for example, you talk about low-grade heat or biomass waste or anaerobic digestion, those are kind of waste as well. So sometimes enterprises do not understand this. And the next stuff that we are also talking about in the context of Europe is that local energy communities is like a buzzword now in Europe, where the advice is to create a knowledge transfer within newly formed groups, which becomes self-sustaining, because this group will have a better understanding of the access to finance to encourage social entrepreneurship in developing countries. And there are some funds like from Horizon 2020, for example, or even like Global Initiative Fund, but they have to be taught how to about the existence of such funds, and how enterprises can communicate with each other to balance supply and demand. I think somebody suggested in the group just now that somebody within this conference has some sort of like a project that has accessible information via mobile phone that sends updates to enterprises. What is whether they should cut their electricity usage now, or should they use electricity more now because the tariff is lower. So SMEs, for example, can start operating at time when energy is lower. So this is the information that is apparently available at the moment. So I think that's the summary.